They are a much better insurer to deal with.
Talk about what qualifies a much better insurer. What do you mean when you say that?
They have their insured at heart. They work hard for the insured to get them made whole, and they don't put you through a whole bunch of grief when you need to get your car repaired or your home repaired or whatever. The process is killing them more than anything else.
Right. Hello, everybody, and welcome back to another episode of the Airing of Grievances. I'm Eric Reamer. That's Robert Grieve, and as always, we're super glad that you are here with us today. If you're one of our longtime family, hey, good to see you again, and we are thankful for you. Don't forget to click the thumbs up, no matter who you are, and if you haven't yet subscribed, go ahead and click that button as well. Hit the notification bell.
Ding, ding.
That tells us that tells YouTube that you care about this information, and they share it with more people. If you're a first timer with us, we especially welcome you.
Welcome.
It's fantastic to have you along with us. This is a consumer forward series of informational videos that are designed to help you, the consumer, the average person on the road, who may not know what happens behind the scenes, behind the curtain of the collision industry, and that's what we're here to tell you about. Robert Grieve is the owner of Nylund's Collision Center here in Englewood, Colorado, and a lot of our information comes and centralized around Colorado, but has national implications as well.
Always.
Rob, happy Saturday.
Happy Saturday to you, my dear friends. Happy Saturday to you. Thanks for tuning in.
So, how do you feel about going down memory lane?
Sure, let's do it.
This is episode 99, and it's hard to imagine that 99 weeks ago, sneaking up on 2 years ago, we started down this path of providing you, the consumer, information that is relevant and helpful and may actually save your life as well as a ton of money. And here we are at episode 99, looking back. We're going to go to the wayback machine, and we're looking back at an episode that we actually aired in week 43. And so
a while ago.
That's the baseline for where we're going. Rob, please introduce what's on your mind.
Well, this week I was on the counsel call, the Department of Insurance Consumer Counsel call.
You sit as a board member on that consumer council or council member.
Yep.
And so you were listening to this call, which is a public forum.
It's public can tune in and comment at any time, and it's well done.
Okay.
But it was interesting that one of the folks from the Department of Insurance brought up that rates are going to be going up significantly.
Going to be.
Yes, which
they already have historically. We've got lots of videos. Check out our playlist. Go to nylundscollision.com. Check out the Airing of Grievances tab. That makes it easy for you to find all that.
Yeah. So, and that they had updated, they have this cool little tool. If you go to the Department of Insurance, I'm sure you'll put a link in for everybody. You can go to the Department of Insurance, and they have some categories that give you baseline information on what premiums might be if you fit into this kind of a range. And
it's an estimator. It's not the end all be all, but it gives you a great place to start.
And it doesn't fit everybody. You know, it's a tool. It's a tool. It's a tool, and it gets you in hand grenade range if you fit these scenarios. So you pick the one that's closest to you, and gives you an idea of what a bunch of people that responded to the survey said they would charge for that policy.
Gotcha.
And it's a great place to start. There's lots to be seen there. One thing I want to mention is that you can't go backwards and see what it was the year before. But we can't. But we can't. But we can't.
No, wait a minute. Is it because you have insider information because you sit on the council?
No. It's because we've done a video on it.
Episode 43.
Yeah. And what we decided to do was, okay, great. They put this, updated this content, and I asked Eric, hey, can you just kind of compare it to, what it was back in last year?
And boy, did we.
And rates have,
Yeah.
they've gone up.
And depending upon which insurer that you go with, they may have gone up exponentially.
Yeah, exponentially.
I'm walking a little funny today.
Because that's the company you have.
It is.
And by the way, you're not getting value for that dollar. I'm just letting you know. You're not getting value for that dollar. So you want to really look at the company as a whole. And you want to look at it from a bunch of different perspectives. You don't want to go off commercials. And generally speaking, your sister, brother-in-law, whoever is now a agent, I would, unless they've been an agent for a decade or
tread carefully.
So just be careful.
Yeah.
Because relationships can be soiled around when a claim happens, and then what happens after that if it doesn't go right.
Yeah, because it could be out of your sister or brother-in-law's hands at that moment, and their ability to affect what you need to be done may be severely limited.
Yeah. So, we did just kind of a cursory, how much did they go up? Now, I do have to say that the cheese was moved.
The cheese was... This was one of the biggest ahas for me. The cheese was significantly moved.
By whom, I'm not sure.
Yeah.
But,
You're talking about the tool.
The tool.
Yeah. They judged different criteria.
Yes. So maybe you can speak to that. I mean, last year you could be this, and this.
Right.
But this year they're rating them on different criteria, which is that, and that.
Yeah. So again, I'll put a screenshot here, and in the description box below is the actual link that you can go to. And in this case, this is the Colorado Department of Insurance. So,
hosting this tool,
hosting the tool, and it may be a different outcome based on where you live in the country. But as it relates to this, we did some side-by-side comparison, and last year we tested 3 different types of drivers, and the first one that we tested was a 35-year-old male, and that was the demographic that Rob said was closest to his age. Of course, I, on behalf of you, protested greatly at this. But he said it was the closest because you were not a 72 or 68-year-old female. So keep these things in mind. 35-year-old male. This year, with the update to the criteria that they're testing, went from 35-year-old male to a 45-year-old male.
Which is significantly different as far as risk goes.
It is. The second driver that we tested was the youngest driver, and back last year it was 21-year-old male. And now it is a 25-year-old male. And there is
again, significant
Grand Canyon of difference between those two age groups when it comes to risk.
Yeah.
Right? And then the final one that we tested was that 68-year-old woman last year who is now being tested as a 72-year-old woman. So when we say the cheese was moved, it was significantly moved, so take that with a grain of salt. But
it's still a tool.
Check your own policy and see, in the last year, has your insurance gone up?
And by how much? So one of the things that popped out at me is we were looking at Liberty Mutual Safeco.
Yeah.
And their rates consistently are almost $900 more year over year.
I feel it every month.
Now, if you compare that to an AIG or an Acuity, they are also up,
Yeah.
but they're only up half as much.
Right.
And they are twice the insurer. They are a much better insurer to deal with.
Talk about what qualifies a much better insurer. What do you mean when you say that?
They have their insured at heart. They work hard for the insured to get them made whole, and they don't put you through a whole bunch of grief when you need to get your car repaired or your home repaired or whatever. By the way, they have this tool for homeowners as well.
Yes, they do, and the link for that is also in the description box below.
Yeah. So, we get to deal with all of these companies.
Sure.
And, an AIG guest is going to go right to the front of the line compared to a Liberty Mutual Safeco guest, because the amount of work involved in the Liberty Mutual Safeco process is so much greater than an AIG. AIG is going to pay the bill.
They're going to pay the bill.
They're just going to pay the bill.
Whereas in the case of other insurers, they may protest the bill. They may
Jump
pay
through
only
hoops.
certain amounts. They go through the fine-tooth comb of the fine print of your policy and stand on things that you probably didn't even know were in the policy to not pay.
So I wouldn't want to spend the extra. You're not getting any value for your money. The $900 more a year that you're going to be paying.
Yeah.
Compared to an Acuity policy at under $500 more. And then you look at Amica, which is another one that goes right to the front of the line.
Yeah.
They were not even $100 more.
Interesting.
Than year over year.
And these are people who, insurance companies that pay the bill because they know it's the right thing to do, and the customer's made whole. We talk a lot on this channel about the proper repair.
Yep.
Original equipment manufacturer parts, and so on. And they don't contest those things, so they may pay a little more on their claims going out, but they save enough to not have to increase their rates as significantly because they don't draw it out. Because at the end of the day, many of those companies that jack up the rates, they jack up the rates because it costs them more through the process.
Yeah.
And
the process is killing them more than anything else.
Right. We used to have a phrase, cutting off your nose to spite your face. And it seems like that's what a lot of insurers tend to do when it would be so much more beneficial just to do the right thing the first time.
Yeah. So there is one resource.
Yeah.
Okay. There's another resource.
Yeah.
That is, it's an interesting one. This publication produces an insurer survey, and the publication is meant towards repairers.
Yeah.
Okay, that's their audience is repairers. And so they ask the repairers every year, what are the good and the bad insurance companies? And there's criteria that's matched. And by the way, they didn't move the cheese. It's the same.
It's the same criteria every time.
Because I fill it out every year.
It's an important thing to note that if you're asking the same question with different criteria, you're going to get a different answer.
And so these are shops from all across the nation.
Yeah.
That they poll and come up with this information. And Eric, you're going to throw a graphic up.
Yeah.
But what's interesting is, some of the names that we believe are top-notch companies that really care for guests, they're on this list.
There they are, right near the top.
Yeah. And some of the other ones we mentioned that aren't so good to deal with aren't on the list at all.
Let me read this paragraph out loud for you as I throw up a graphic that comes straight from this survey. The survey found that when it comes to auto insurers, bigger may not be better. Looking at just the 10 largest companies, well-known and widely advertised brands, none of them ranked even among the top 40 in this year's rankings.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. So the ones that are on this, not all of them write in, every state.
Sure.
Okay, and so some of them may not be familiar to you. They may be there, they may not be there.
Sure.
You just haven't seen them on TV or heard about them on radio or so on and so forth. But here's another resource, because we get the question all the time, every week. What's the best insurers to go with?
Yeah.
And a lot has to do with your own circumstances. Are you a homeowner? What are you trying to insure? And
Right.
The answer is different in many cases, but I can tell you what companies will care about you if you have the loss.
Right.
So, but don't listen to me. You can take a look at this.
Yeah.
You can go to your own Department of Insurance and see if there's information there that can help out.
We started this off by talking about somebody moved the cheese, right? They changed the criteria that they were asking about. Well, perhaps it's time for us to consider changing the criteria of what matters to you, because the marketing, and we're talking billions of dollars of marketing, all go towards paying the least amount possible for your monthly premium or your annual premium.
Look, you want to pay the least amount, so do they.
Right. Right. So that's their criteria. That's what they're doing. But what if we changed or moved the cheese and said the criteria that we really care about is performing the proper repair at the time of greatest need?
Yes.
That's
and not dragging them through the mud.
That's what we talk about every day, every week, right? Is looking for who's going to do the right thing when you need them to.
Mm-hmm.
Because you find out that not all neighbors are good.
Mm-hmm.
You find out that you're not always in great hands. I'm just saying.
Yeah, they're and I called out Liberty Mutual because I was just like, wow, about the premiums.
Their premiums
the
gone
premium
up the
levels.
most. Yeah.
But there's many others that do not have your best interest at heart.
Yeah.
From our standpoint, and we deal with them.
Sure.
So we know. And I'll tell you, I want to go back to the whole agent-broker relationship.
Yes.
And just so we're clear, agents represent a company.
Right.
Brokers represent usually several companies.
Right.
And we had one of our amazing guests here, love him dearly, and he had travelers, and they were dragging him through the mud.
Mm-hmm.
No surprise to us, they do it to everybody.
Yeah.
They weren't picking on him. That's the way they handle everything with everybody. To the point that we had to actually invoke the appraisal clause, which you can throw up. We did a video on the appraisal clause as well, a few of them.
Yeah.
But that was their way of pushing back on the insurer to get the correct repair. Not all policies have the appraisal clause, which is on my mind and something that's going to be coming up soon. Anyway, he went to his agent that sold him the traveler's policy, and the agent was not helpful. Was not able to get any movement on this whatsoever. And so I should say he went to his broker. Because,
His broker, okay.
Yeah. So I went to my broker, who I know also sells that product,
Okay.
and told him what was going on. And what we had him do was we had my guest sign a broker of letter change.
Okay. So,
Broker record change. So now his broker that wasn't helping him is no longer his broker. His new broker is my broker
I see.
on the same policy.
Got
Just
it.
switched over to broker.
Just switch to the broker.
And my broker stepped in and worked on his behalf behind the scenes to get this thing resolved. And, that's the difference between, who you're using.
I have a phrase, both for my company and my personal life, that comes in to play every single day, and it's not what you know, but who knows you, and it really can make a difference.
Well, you got two powerhouses, really. You got Nylund's name,
Yeah.
that this is the right way to do things.
Right.
And you got a broker that's a rock star.
Yeah.
And those two things coming together to work for the guest got the guest.
Moves mountains.
Yeah. And now the guest isn't with that policy anymore. We found a better policy for him. Maybe one that might be on this list.
Sounds like something that I'll be doing for Christmas as well.
Actually, it's in the top 5
Yes.
of the list.
All right.
So anyway, buying insurance is an important decision. It is certainly about premium dollars, but it's about value of those premium dollars. And like I mentioned to you, the value that you're going to be paying more for what you're getting is not value added.
Yeah.
It's not value added. You would be much better if you went with one of these few people up here that didn't go up as much, but they also offer a whole lot more care should you find yourself in a bad situation.
All right. Well, my friend, I want to say thank you for caring about what matters to us.
Yeah.
Right. And if you have any questions, of course, you can always reach out to us. Here's our phone number. We're always happy to take your call and answer whatever we are able to and refer you wherever we can. Rob, happy Saturday to you.
To you, my dear friends, thanks so much for tuning in. It means the world to me. Have an amazing week, and we'll see you next Saturday.